Hey, dance teachers, dancers, and lovers of all things dance. Miss Shauna here with a little start of the season check-in, helping you prepare for the dance season so you can step into the spotlight and shine. Okay, everybody, let's dive right in. Pull up the sleeves, get ourselves ready. It is almost the start of the dance season. So I'm here in Winnipeg, Canada. We are a couple weeks away from starting dance for the year. Some people may have an early jump start. Some people may start a little bit later, but we're kind of at that start of the year time. It's kind of back to school, back to dance, all fun things happening. It's like registration season. If you own a studio, if you're a studio owner, you're probably like wondering where all the gray hairs came from. But nonetheless, it is that exciting time of back to dance. So if you have ever been on my Facebook and seen me chatting, you know that I can talk forever. So I do have some notes today so that I can help myself, you, and those you love who love dance, just have like a good prep for the start of the dance season. So I guess the first thing is, when do classes start? Have you checked the calendar? Have you gone, okay, we have this many days till the start of dance. Are you ready? If you are a dancer or a dance parent, have you got registration in, right? Have you signed up for those classes? Teachers, do you know your schedule? Do you know what styles you're teaching? Do you know, what you need for your classes? Like, are you there? Do you have what you need? And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, so that if you don't, you do have a little bit of time to get yourself ready and off on the right foot. Okay, so dance teachers, let's talk about you first, because without a dance teacher, there really isn't dance class, right? We are the leaders of dance class. We are there helping all of our young humans find the beat and step out into the world one dance step at a time, and like just letting them shine and helping them find their talent and express their creativity, build confidence, all of those things. So if we are not ready, dance class gets pretty tough. So what do you need? What do you need if you're a dance teacher? Well, I guess first, do you have a syllabus that you're working with? Do you know what syllabus, if you're teaching at multiple studios or maybe just your own, do you know what syllabus you're going to be following, right? Do you know the expectations? I'm putting check marks next to these just so that I know I've said them, and then I'm going to go back later and double check to make sure that I've done them for myself. But do you have a syllabus that you're following? Are you familiar with it? Do you know what age group, level, all of the things that you need to be able to teach that class properly and add your own fun twist to it, right? I am a firm believer in using the syllabus and teaching the dancers properly, safely, with all of the right progressions, but I also want them to have fun, and I want them to get a bit of a Miss Shauna twist with it. So do you have that syllabus, and do you know how you're going to like tie your own personality, your own excitement in class into that? And I guess that ties me into the next thing. Do you have your first lesson plan ready? Do you have those lesson plans ready to go? Now, I love, 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 love getting new pens, new notebooks, everything at the start of the year. I know kids, they go back to school. It's back to school time. They get back to school supplies. I love back to dance supplies. So I will go into Staples and I will get the pens and the notebooks and the highlighters to make sure that I have everything ready for back to dance. Get that fresh new notebook, and I get everything usually pretty highlighted and decked right out so that I'm ready for that first day of dance. So lesson plans, teachers, do you have them? Are you figuring it out? If you have you picked your music? Do you have your playlists ready to go? Because all of these things tie in, right? And you want to make sure whenever I do, so I do teacher training where I train teachers. Whenever I do teacher training, I always say, like, make sure you've worked out the music to go with your exercise, because the worst thing is when you're standing there and you're like, oh, I don't know what song to use, right? Is this the right beat? Is this too fast? Is this too slow? Work it out, have the backups, right? Because start a year, you never know. You're going to be walking in with maybe new students or students who hadn't danced all summer. You might need to ease things in. You might have to have the slow version and the fast version, any of those things. So make sure you've got that playlist ready to go. Also, let's be real, all the kids, they do their back to dance, like dance shoe shopping, bodysuit shopping, tights. They get all their like fashion right? If your students are anything like my students, they all have their own kind of dance style, and I totally encourage it. We have dress code, follow dress code, but also put your own spin on it. Feel comfortable in what you're wearing, make it your own personality. And I love that for my dancers. I like to be able to see how they can take our studio, my studio's dress code, but also like add their own little spin to it so I can get to know their personalities a little bit. Same thing goes for teachers though, right? Are you ready? Do you have your back to dance, first day of dance outfit picked out? Listen, I do this. I do this all the time. It's like I'm in like third grade and I have my back to dance outfit like I would have a back to dance school or back to school outfit. And so in all of that, I feel like we need to treat it as teachers. Kids go back to school shopping, we should go back to dance shopping, right? So get those notebooks, the stationery, the outfit, the shoes if we need them, anything like that. Also, if you don't just teach dance full time, right? Dance is my full time job. That is all I do. But before I did that, I did have another job. I worked in events and marketing, and it was awesome and I loved it. But trying to balance that, 9 to 5, and then heading to the studio in the evening was a lot to manage. It was a lot to manage. And so every year at the start of dance season, I had to sit down and go, okay, how am I going to balance this work life, right? How am I going to make sure I keep time for family, keep time for friends, keep time for house chores, all of those things. So if you have other things going on in your life other than just dance, make sure you're taking time, teachers, to figure out how you're going to balance that, because that is so valuable to be able to have that balance, be able to do what you love, teach the students you love to teach, and keep dance as part of your life while working or raising your family, keeping your house in order, all of those things. If you have your bio on your studio's website, is it up to date? Is your bio up to date, right? Do you have a current headshot? Maybe when you started working at that studio, you were in school. Maybe now you're working and you want to update that you're no longer studying, you're working. Whatever it is, make sure that bio is updated. Maybe you have a few achievements you want to highlight that aren't there yet. So talk to your studio owner, make sure that they're getting those bios updated. And then you'll kind of feel like you're like a little bit of a step ahead, right? Your students are going to get a chance to know you a little bit by seeing that bio, seeing your picture. And that way, when they walk into the room, they don't feel like they're walking in with a stranger, right? Makes it a little more personable. So teachers, do you have your lesson plans? Do you know what syllabus you're following? Do you have your music ready to go? Do you have all your dance wear? Treat yourself to an outfit. For real though, treat yourself to an outfit. Maybe it's a new pair of dance pants, whatever it is, you deserve it. You deserve to start off the year in style, just like your students do. And then make sure you're just getting that balanced calendar, the updated everything with your bio and everything on your website. And you know what I'm going to do is there are a few things that I super love. I love this dance bag. It's in my cart is what it is. It is in my cart and I can't wait to get it. It just looks like it's going to hold everything that I need for dance class. Especially I teach sometimes offsite out of our studio. It's like you just need a carry-all. So I'm going to link in the description of the video just some of my things that I feel are dance teacher must-haves to get the year started. So you are welcome to head over there and take a peek at some of those. Before we move on to dancers and parents for some prep for the dance season, let's just remind all of those teachers out there, see, this is why I write notes so I don't lose track of my thoughts, that you want to make sure you're starting your year with like the basics, right? All of us dive right in sometimes, and then it's like you get to the first class and you're like, all right, I got to review. You have to review things. Review is never bad. Don't think of that as bad. Think of it as a way of easing your students in, giving them a chance to get their bodies back into dance ready shape, get their minds back into learning, turn everything on. And then also, if you have classes with varying levels, or maybe some dancers have moved up a level from the previous year, you're starting to level that playing field. You're getting everybody kind of meeting at the baseline so that they can grow together. So don't worry about diving in full force, being like, in month one, we have to accomplish 987 things. No, start and build, right? Start basic, build. If your basic lesson plan on class one, like if they surpass that in class one, that's a win, right? That is awesome. You are setting your kids up for success, your dancers, because some of us don't necessarily work with children, but those dancers are just set up for success to kind of have that trajectory, just keep going upward. But also, we don't want to set them up for failure either. We don't want to discourage our dancers on day one with like an insanely difficult lesson plan. We want to challenge them. We want to keep it fun. So make sure you're kind of keeping it basic, keeping the fun. And then also remember, back to dance should be fun for you too as a teacher. So we sit here, I sit here, maybe I'm just the only overthinker. If I'm the only overthinker, let me know. Or if you are also an overthinker, like also let me know so I know I'm not the only one. But if you are sitting here going, okay, I need to have the perfect playlist and the perfect lesson plan, and you're putting a ton of stress on yourself and you're not reminding yourself of why I think everybody at the end of the day starts dance, and that is for fun, right? I think we all start dancing because it's fun. And there was something in it, whether it was being with your friends or the good music or just the outlet of being able to dance. All of those things are why we start. You know, if you don't keep that close to your heart as a teacher, it's really hard to teach. So remember that all of that still applies to you too. Those things that we're trying to bring to our students also still apply to us as teachers. So don't lose sight of that as you're getting your bag packed or ordering those last few things off Amazon to be ready for the dance season, getting your playlists ready, writing those lesson plans out, all of those things. Make sure that you're also creating an element of fun for you. Maybe that's making sure your warm up includes your favorite song, or adding in elements to your class that like actually uplift you as well as your students. So don't lose sight of that. So teachers, I hope that you are getting ready for the season. I hope you are excited for the season, whether you teach 2-year-olds or 20-year-olds, whatever it is. Let's dive in. Let's make the most of it. And let's help prepare also our dancers and our dance parents for the coming dance season. Okay, so teachers, I hope that those few little things have given you some insight. Obviously, nothing is perfect. No one can perfectly prepare. I'm reading my notes as I'm talking about this, but no one can perfectly prepare for the first day. We cannot predict what it's going to be like. We don't necessarily know every student that's walking into our class. So sometimes we have to deviate from our lesson plans or slow things down, speed things up. But at the end of the day, the more that we can do to prepare, the easier that first day is. Listen, I've been teaching since I was 15 years old. Now, that's a long time. This is a long time, 15, 25, 35. So like that's over 2 decades because I'm older than 35. So over 2 decades I've been teaching, and I still kind of get those little butterflies on the first day of dance. Who are my new students? What are they going to bring to class? What can I bring to them? Making sure I'm putting my best foot forward. So nothing is perfect, but when we do some of these little things to prepare, even just making sure we have, an extra pen in our dance bag just in case one dies while we're doing attendance, right? Like all of those little things, or if we have to make a note in our lesson plan, we're like good to go. All of those tiny little things matter. Throwing an extra charger in your dance bag in case your phone or tablet that you play music off of running out of juice. Tiny little things to prepare. That extra little prep will set you up to shine as you teach all season. But we also want to set up our dancers and our parents for success. So dancers, if you are watching this, or if you know a dancer who maybe is getting ready for the dance season, or maybe they're taking their first dance class ever, maybe they're totally new to the dance world, there's some things you can do to prepare for your first class just so that you feel a little more ready, a little readier. Either way you want to say it, a little more prepared for what it is. So the first thing you want to think about dancers is, do you know the dress code? Do you know what you need to wear? Right? If you're taking ballet class and you're showing up in a pair of jeans, your ballet teacher is not going to be very pleased, right? So are you ready with your outfit? Do you have your leotard? Do you have your tights? Do you have your ballet shoes? Are you allowed to wear leg warmers? Or are you not? These are things you want to check with the studio, right? I'm a firm believer in leg warmers for a variety of reasons, but that's neither here nor there. Lots of studios have certain dress codes for certain reasons, and they should be followed, right? If your studio has set a dress code, make sure you follow it. At the end of the day, though, dress code is there for things like safety, making sure that your teacher can see how your body is aligned. I know specifically for classes like ballet, if I can't see what your leg is doing, I don't know if you're turning out from your hip. I don't know if you're turning out from your knee. If you're using the wrong part of your body in the wrong way, it can lead to injury. I don't want any of my dancers to get injured. I am always about the healthy dancers, safety for the dancers, proper progressions. So I want to be able to see how your body is moving. There is also the psychology of clothing, psychology of apparel. It's a thing. And so when you dress the part, you start to perform the part more, which is really kind of cool. So if you want to feel more like a ballerina, dress like that ballerina. Get the bun, get the matching scrunchie, have the skirt. All of those things will actually help elevate your performance. And just make you feel like more cohesive and more in line with your dance class. Also, dancers, are you familiar with dance class etiquette? So what happens if you're late? How does your teacher want you to come in? Do they ask you to knock? Do they just ask you to come in quietly, put your stuff down, find a spot either at center, at the bar, wherever they are? What is the etiquette of the studio? Um, all of those things. Usually studios have them pretty available. If they don't, you can always just call your studio or stop by your studio and ask so that you know what you're walking into, right? Do they have rules that you are expected to follow and that they will enforce so that everybody has a safe and inclusive and fun dance environment? So just check in on those kinds of things. Also, dancers, do you know who your teacher is? I just said for the teachers, make sure your bio is updated on your studio's website so your students can get to know you. So dancers, do you know who your teacher is? Have you gone to your studio's website and said, oh, that's going to be my jazz teacher. That's going to be my hip hop teacher. Have you read a little bit about them? Have you prepped on their social media? Any of those things. It's not weird for us dance teachers. We know it happens. So I would rather, personally, I would love my students to come in having a little idea of what I'm about. I know when I teach, I have personally very high expectations for my dancers. I am hard on them. But with an element of fun, right? I think when I say I'm hard on them, I'm not mean. And I'm going to talk about this like in another video another day. I wouldn't say I'm mean. I grew up um, and I mean, you can just Google about this. They talk about it all the time, how gymnastics has shifted. The culture of gymnastics is shifting. But I grew up doing gymnastics in the 90s and early 2000s when it wasn't what it is now. I love the way the culture of gymnastics has shifted. I just finished watching the Olympics. I thought it was beautiful, the things that I was seeing from the coaches, from the camaraderie between the different nations. But there was coaching practices and principles. Thank goodness I had amazing coaches. So I'm just going to throw this out there to everybody. I had amazing coaches who I think that's the reason I teach the way I do now. But I know there was not always great coaches when I was growing up. That said, I do bring a level of expectation for my dancers. I expect responsibility. I respect manners. I respect accountability. And so those are the things I bring to my class. I also expect my dancers to have fun. I want my dancers to know that their opinion matters, that they are free to ask questions, that they can come to me for advice or mentorship. So I want my students, when they come into class, to know a little bit about me. So please, if you are new or having a new teacher, so if you're new to dance, you've never danced before, make sure you look up your teacher. If you're maybe returning to the studio, but you have a new teacher, maybe you moved up a level and now you're getting a senior teacher, then take time to get to know them a little bit before you actually get to know them, right? You might sit there and go, oh, they're fun. This is gonna be a good class. It might actually make you more energized and even more motivated to like show up and be your best when you get to class. So who's your teacher? Do you know who it is? Have you met them? If you haven't met them face to face, have you like social media met them where you just kind of creep on them, but you feel like they're your friends? Kind of like, when I follow celebrities and I'm like, oh yeah, this person's totally my friend. We're not. I don't know them. I've never met them, but they're on my Instagram and I like their stuff and I feel like I'm part of their life, right? Also, just double checking any but I saw you mentioned the studio etiquette dancers, and that's kind of how you conduct yourself in class with your peers to your teacher. But also, are there any studio rules? Right? Is there drop off and pickup times? Right? Is it one of those? Is it one of those things where the studio opens at 15 minutes before class starts. So you can't show up 30 minutes early because the studio's not open. Is there family expectations, right? So when you're a dancer, it's not usually just you, especially if you're under the age of majority. I guess where I am, that's 18. If you're under the age of 18, your parents are signing your papers, they're driving you, they're doing all of those things. So is there rules that they're expected to follow as well? Are they expected to follow certain studio rules? Are there is there a parent viewing area, a parent lobby, any of those kinds of things? So checking in with any of those studio rules so you are familiar with them. So then when a teacher or a studio manager or the studio owner enforces them, it's not shocking to you. You know what you're walking into, right? There's I always, my dancers make fun of me. I mean, my dancers make fun of me for a lot of things. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's all in jest, but there's FOMO, fear of missing out. But I also like to use the one, fear of the unknown, FOTU, fear of the unknown. There's always this fear of the unknown. So if you're not sure what you're walking into, it just makes everything more challenging. If you have at least a bit of an idea of what you're walking into, that makes it a lot easier. So even I know with my studio dancers, you can register in person, but you can also register online. So if you're a new dancer to the studio and you've registered online, you've never walked through the studio doors. You don't know where the washroom is or where the change room is. So I invite always my students who have registered online before the start of class, they can come in and see the studio, do a walkthrough, so that on their first day of dance, they're not walking in just feeling really intimidated by being in a new building with all these new people. So familiarizing yourself is always key. Um, then parents, on the flip side, um, you play a huge role in the success of your dancer, right? So we're heading into the dance season. Dance teachers, you play a giant role in the success of dancers. You're in that room with them, helping them progress, helping them build confidence, helping them learn moves. You're there to encourage them on the stressful days and celebrate with them on the days full of wins. Parents, you also play a ginormous role in the success of your child or your dancer, right? So one of the things I know for a fact that my 7-year-old students don't drive themselves to dance. They don't get themselves there. Someone is bringing them, whether that's mom or dad or someone who has arranged, maybe you've arranged auntie or a carpool with another dancer. Parents, you gotta get them there. And so if you have to figure out a driving schedule, maybe it's, okay, I leave work at this time, or this is what we've prepared for supper, this is what time we have to leave the house so that they get to dance on time. So figuring out your schedule. I also, it's not lost on me, dance parents, that a 7-year-old doesn't pack their dance bag. Oh, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I have had 7-year-olds in the past who are like anomalies, and they're like very meticulous about their dance stuff. But the reality is a 7-year-old's not remembering to put both jazz shoes and a water bottle and a granola bar and a sweater and any warm-up stuff, an extra hair tie, band-aid. Like, they're not thinking of what goes in their dance bag, right? But parents are, right? So make sure that you've got your dancers' dancewear set up, you've got their dance bag, you've put their dancer's name on their shoes, especially if you've got littles. I kid you not when I say last year we played so much, um, where's the shoe? We played the game of where's the shoe way too many times, because there weren't names on the shoes. So sometimes a kid would put someone else's shoe in their bag. They didn't know. And then they'd come back the next class and one shoe was like 2 sizes too big for the other one. Put your dancers' names on their shoes, show them where it is, remind them to check that they have theirs, that they have both of theirs. And also make sure you label their dance bag so that they know it's theirs. Whether that's, you can get really cute little bag tags, different things like that, so that your dancer knows which one is theirs. Also, parents, I already mentioned it for the dancers, but are you familiar with the studio rules? Do you know what the expectation of parents is, right? A lot of times, I know for my studio personally, we have a code of conduct. It includes like anti-bullying. It includes, stuff like no profanity, making sure that you're dressing appropriately, whether that's nothing too revealing, nothing with profanity on your apparel, any of those things. We don't have parents in the room when the children are dancing. This is common practice for a lot of studios, although I know some studios do let parents in to watch. We will always let parents come in and watch, like for the last 5 minutes of class. We love inviting parents into the audience. The kids love that too. But during class, we like to give the dancers the opportunity to explore their own independence, build their own confidence, and really learn without the distraction of parents. And I'm not saying parents are distracting, so parents, please don't take that the wrong way. But sometimes when a child gets out on their own, they really do become empowered to thrive. And then they're even more excited to show you later, right? So they're gaining that independence and that confidence, and they like literally cannot wait until you walk down that hall later and walk in the room to watch, the little combo they prepared or whatever the teacher said they're working on that they can show. So any of those studio rules, you want to make sure you're familiar with them. Also, parents, and this is just coming as a studio director, you want to make sure your fees are up to date. No studio director likes to chase people for money. And that's always like the most awkward thing is when you have to like chase people for money, because at the end of the day, we want every kid to dance. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. If I could have every kid dance for free and I had some magic wand that paid, my teachers without needing to take payment from parents, and if I had some magic wand that suddenly just gave me a free building with, proper dance floors and all of the equipment we needed so that dancers could dance safely and in comfort, I would totally do that. Unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. So there is a cost to taking dance class. So parents, if you are staying on track, up to date with your fees, that's just one less thing that a dance studio owner or office manager has to worry about. And then everybody can just show up and do their best dancing without having to worry. Also, with that said, and this is just from my own experience. As a studio owner, we obviously have a payment structure when our fees due and how do they get paid. But I will always work out an arrangement with someone if maybe payday doesn't match with dance fee day, right? So maybe we have to adjust or get ahead on fee payments, or I have parents who we have monthly options. I have parents who choose a monthly option, but they just come in and make a payment. It's not always on the first of the month. They're like, hey, can I give you money today? And I'm like, absolutely, let's get you ahead, right? So never, ever be afraid to bring that up with your studio owner if you need to make any arrangements, alternate arrangements. You'd be surprised how much a studio owner wants to help your dancer um, pay for dance, I guess is the easiest way to say it. We just want, as studio owners, as dance teachers, we want to help you get your kid dancing. And if that means helping set up payment plans or anything like that, just come talk to us, right? We don't know that you need one unless you say it, and we can't help you unless we know, right? So those are just a few things. So dancers, do you know your dress code? Do you know your etiquette? Do you know who your teacher is? Do you know the studio rules? Parents, do you know the schedule? Do you know the driving schedule to make that schedule work? Also, parents, have you registered? Because I know there's always those parents who come in on the first day of class and like, oh, I didn't register. The last thing I want to do is look a parent in the eye and say, well, that class is full. And if you had registered last week, you would have got a spot. So make sure you're getting those kids registered, right? Get their signups in, making sure all your stuff is up to date. And then also just, I guess, a really important thing for dancers and parents to note when you're getting ready for dance, on your first day, like be on time, be ready. If you don't know what that means, ask questions ahead of time. Like I had kind of said before, a dance teacher wants to help you, but we can't help you if we don't know that you have a question, right? And I think that applies everywhere in life. If you're in math class and you're confused, but you don't ask, the teacher doesn't know you don't know, right? And then they can't help you. So we want to make sure that if you have any questions, or if you're unsure of anything, or if you need help with anything, maybe you need to order some dancewear. I know not all studios have dancewear that you can buy from them. Mine does. We can order dancewear for you. But if you need to order anything, do that ahead of time. Get yourself ahead of the game. And then kind of do like even a run through. I actually have a dance mom. I have a few exceptional dance moms. I have some great dance moms at my studio, but without like revealing too much about this person's life, they have a daughter who will be going to a different high school now. So she's older now. She's going to be going to a new high school. And they did like a trial run, and she had posted on her social media a trial run of the new routes, right? The new route to get all the kids to school and to work and everything from there. And I just think that is such a smart thing to do with that trial run. And I think that that's a great thing to do with your dancer too, right? Let's do a trial run because, Mondays are busy because we have, you have school, and then after school you have this program, and then you got to go to dance, and we need to fit in, mom and dad's schedule for work, and we need to make sure you eat supper. So let's have a day where we do like a practice run. And then your dancer is ready, you are ready, you can see if there's any glitches, and it makes it really easy to dive right in. So the start of dance season can be a lot of fun, but it can also be nerve-wracking for everybody. Like I said, even as a teacher, I still get nervous on the first day of dance. I get nervous, I get excited. I want to meet everybody. I want to be the best teacher that I can be. I'm pretty sure dancers, you want to walk into class and be the best dancer that you can be. But then you also look at the people next to you and you can like get just a little self-conscious. Your teachers are there to try to ease you in as best as possible. But in all honesty, a little bit of prep on everyone's part, teachers, parents, dancers, a little bit of prep to get yourself ready makes back to dance a lot more enjoyable, a little bit less stressful, and makes easing into class like a breeze. So these are just a few like easy tips, right? These are easy things that you can dive into. So just to recap, teachers, that's your lesson plans, knowing your syllabus, making sure you've got all your back to dance stuff in your back to dance bag, maybe your new one, maybe you're going to enjoy the one that I posted. Making sure you've got that schedule balanced out. Dancers, again, it's knowing the etiquette, knowing your teacher, knowing your dress code, your rules, kind of what you're walking into, making sure you've seen the studio, you know where the change room is, you know where the bathroom is. Parents, it's working out that schedule. It's making sure you have labeled your dancers' stuff so nothing's getting lost, keeping everything up to date, having a little chit chat with your studio, whether it's their office manager, enrollment director, or studio owner, depending how their structure is set up, just making sure you know you've made all the touch points to ease on in to dance. So those are just a few easy things you can do to prepare. Like I said, nothing is foolproof. There is no perfect anything. And if you're in the dance world, you absolutely know there is no such thing as perfect, but we always strive to do our best. So a little bit of prep in these few weeks before dance starts will help make sure that you ease into the dance season like a superstar. So how are you preparing? Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything on my lists? If you're a dance teacher, did I miss anything? Can you give me some tips in return? Please put those in the comments because I am always looking at ways to be better prepared. I like a good checklist. I like lots of preparation. I like to feel like if life decides to throw me some curveballs, I'm ready because everything else was in place that I can like work with those curveballs. Dancers, are there things that you do that I didn't mention that you think other dancers might benefit from? Pop those in the comments. Same thing, dance parents. Are you like an OG dance mom? Are you like an expert dance parent? And you're like, hey girl, you missed this. Please share because the more that we can educate each other and help each other make the most of back to dance, the better, the more organized, the less stressed we can all be. And then we can just set up all of our dancers for a really great season ahead. So how are you prepping? Does this help? Are you doing other things? Are you doing all of these things and you feel like you're just on track? Let me know. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. I hope that your back to dance prep is coming along. I hope that you are getting excited. And I want to just thank you for tuning in. I want you to keep on dancing, keep on shining, and I will see you next time.